Jamie Oliver is one of the most recognisable chefs in the world, authoring numerous cookbooks and starring in his own TV shows. He was raised in Essex, in a town about an hour east of London, and he speaks with a kind of mix of received pronunciation and Cockney. And he's very well known for using British English slang, and that's what I'm interested in today. So get ready, because me and Jamie Oliver are going to teach you fantastic British slang phrases. I can't wait, guys. Let's do this. When Jamie Oliver first appeared on our TV screens in The Naked Chef, he was synonymous with one British slang word: PUKKA.
I would have said the word PUKKA quite a lot.
Why did you say that word so much?
The word PUKKA kind of became quite connected to me, and it was just part of our culture as teenagers. It was like, yeah, PUKKA, mate.
So PUKKA means, yeah, genuine or authentic. It also means kind of good quality, like excellent. So if you say, oh, that was a PUKKA meal, that was a delicious meal. But Jamie Oliver also uses it to say, yeah, it's genuine. So a PUKKA curry is a genuine, authentic curry. Now, I use that example because PUKKA actually comes from Hindi and from Sanskrit before that. So it's a word that's entered British English via another language. Now, as I said, this word became connected to Jamie Oliver, and he even did a TV series called PUKKA Tukka. Tukka means food. It's another word for food. So it was used a lot when talking about Jamie Oliver in the media and so forth. I think these days he doesn't use it so much because it was so overused before, but it's still used in British English slang as an adjective to describe something that's excellent or authentic.
And it was just part of our culture as teenagers. It was like, yeah, PUKKA, mate.
All right, let's get to an interview that Jamie Oliver did in 2015 and learn some British slang.
But I knew all the fun was in the kitchen, man. I knew really young that the dirty jokes and all the banter and kind of like, you know, that sort of British sense of humour of just taking the mickey out of each other constantly.
Okay, so let's start with banter. Banter is teasing, playful conversation between people that know each other. You joke with each other, as I say, you tease them. You might mock them for a silly haircut or because they said something silly, but it's playful, it's usually quite fun. And yeah, it's between a group of people that know each other. So it could be like in an office or a sports team or a group of friends. There's banter between you. With my friends, I have a WhatsApp group, and it's my close group of friends, and we always have banter. We tease each other, we make jokes about each other, but it's usually fun and it's light-hearted. Jamie Oliver is talking about the banter in a kitchen when he was cooking, that the chefs would all have this teasing and joking between them. So an example sentence might be, there's a lot of banter on my friend's WhatsApp group.
So I couldn't be prouder of my industry, but my friends that were taking the piss out of me all wanted to be city boys and traders and estate agents.
Right. To take the piss is kind of similar. It's to tease or mock someone. So when I was younger, I had some of the worst haircuts you could ever imagine. I had like a long mullet, I'm not even gonna go into it. But what my friends would do is they would tease me, they would make jokes about my hair, and that was to take the piss. So my friends would take the piss out of my hair. My friends would take the piss out of my hair. They would joke and tease me and mock me about my hair. It was fair enough because it was terrible hair, I can't lie. So you can take the piss, or you can take the piss out of someone. Now obviously this is a very informal phrase and it's slightly rude. I mean, I use it, but I use it in situations where I feel comfortable with the people that I'm talking to. If I was to be more formal, I would say tease or joke or mock. But yeah, when it's more informal situation, then to take the piss, perfectly fine.
So I couldn't be prouder of my industry, but my friends that were taking the piss out of me, and I lived in the local pub, and my dad 40 years ago was one of the early people to sort of start doing the gastropub thing.
Okay, here's a very British concept, a gastropub. This is a pub in which the food is high quality. So usually in a pub they might serve some snacks, crisps, things like that, but food isn't that important. But in a gastropub, it's a mix between a pub and a restaurant. It's kind of, the food is as important as anything else in the pub. So Jamie Oliver is talking about how his father ran a gastropub in Essex. Obviously, gastro there comes from the word gastronomy, which of course is from French and related to all things to do with cooking. So yeah, gastropub, it's a pub that has high quality food.
And I really love the idea of being able to work to earn a couple of quid.
Here's one you may know already, the word quid, quid. This is British slang for £1. Okay, so Jamie over there is talking about working and earning a couple of quid. Means a few pounds, like a bit of money. Now it's uncountable, so you can't have 2 quids or 3 quids. It's 2 quid, 3 quid. There's never an S. So can I borrow a few quid? Means can I borrow a few pounds? Can I borrow a bit of money?
There is an instinctive pressure to sort of crack on with the family business.
Here's a phrasal verb, crack on, and that means to continue to do something, or to start and then continue to do something. So here Jamie Oliver is talking about running the family business, and he said, you know, I could just crack on with that, like I could just continue doing that. So yeah, nice little British English phrase there to mean continue to do something.
And it kind of felt like I was just starting to see a world that country bumpkins like me had never seen before. And it was also quite a funny time because all of my mates, and I had lots, I mean, I'm still friends with 80% of my school year.
Okay, 2 great phrases here. First of all, country bumpkin. Wow, country bumpkin, I like this phrase. So it's a noun and it describes someone that lives in the countryside, so in rural Britain, that maybe lives a simple life. So maybe hasn't traveled too much, hasn't gone to the big city, and that's how he's describing himself, like living where he did, like an hour outside London. He hadn't really explored the world, he hadn't really gone into London, so he describes himself as a country bumpkin. He also says the word mates. This is classic British English slang, just means friend.
And it kind of felt like I was just starting to see a world that country bumpkins like me had never seen before. And it was also quite a funny time because all of my mates, and I had lots, I mean, I'm still friends with 80% of my school year. The phone calls started coming from production companies and the BBC, and I think it was Granada, which was a department of ITV, which is sort of, you know, one of the network channels, and producers. And it went bonkers. And
I like this word, bonkers, bonkers. He's describing a TV show becoming very popular overnight, so very quickly, and he said it went bonkers, like, so everything went a bit mad. I think bonkers basically essentially means mad. But in this case, I think it's a positive thing. Like he was pleased it went mad because he was getting lots of attention, lots of press, lots of people wanting to hire him and work with him. So it all went a bit bonkers. It can just mean mad. Like you could describe a person as being bonkers. Like, yeah, there's a guy down my street, he's completely bonkers. Like he's mad. So that would be in a more negative sense. So it could be positive, it could be negative. It depends on the situation.
And it went bonkers, and they would use me as the conversation starter to slag them off.
They want to pit you against other people.
Another phrasal verb here, slag someone off. To slag someone off. And this means to criticize someone in quite a mean way, I would say. Now, Jamie Oliver is using it in the context of the media, criticizing chefs, famous chefs. So he's saying that the media slagged off other chefs in the industry. So you'll notice there that the object goes in the middle of the phrasal verb, or it can go after. Now, if it's an object pronoun like me, then it goes in the middle, right? So he slagged me off, not he slagged off me. So it can go in the middle of the phrasal verb. But if it's like my friends, for example, he slagged off my friends, that can go in the middle or it can go afterwards. So it's up to you. So he slagged off my friends, or he slagged my friends off.
They would use me as the conversation starter to slag them off.
They want to pit you against other people.
Because there was nothing on TV that inspired me in cooking at that time. And because I was proper, you know, 20 years old.
Here's an interesting one. He says, I was proper, then he leaves a little pause, and he says, you know, and then 20 years old. Now that word proper is what I'm interested in. It's an intensifier, and it kind of means like very. It's an informal way to say very or really. And usually you would have an adjective coming after it. So I was proper tired, or I was proper angry, or I was proper upset. As he's speaking, because it's spontaneous speech, he hadn't quite thought about the full sentence. So he says, I was proper, and I think he wanted to say young or something like that. But he sort of says, I was proper, you know, 20 years old. So the sentence doesn't quite make grammatical sense, but he's still using that British English slang word there, proper, very informal phrase. Yeah, normally you might say I was really young or I was very young, but in this case, I was proper young, probably would have made sense.
Because there was nothing on TV that inspired me in cooking at that time, and because I was proper, you know, 20 years old.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Loads of British English slang from Jamie Oliver. Now I want you to use one of those phrases in the comments in an example sentence. I'll come down, if it's correct, I'll give it a thumbs up. And if it needs changing, I'll tell you what to do. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please share this with anyone you know that's trying to learn British English. And until next time, this is Tom, the Chief Dreamer, saying goodbye.